Buzz's Retirement Garage. You guys remember when I did a video about retiring with $300,000 or less and $200,000 or less, and then I said I would do one with $100,000 or less. So this is what we're going to talk about today. But first, we're going to back up a little bit because we're going to talk about AI. Why do we have to talk about AI? For a couple reasons. One, I reached out to a broker in my area to talk about $100,000 retirement. And after some back and forth through their person who was talking to them. Now this broker is very popular in the Cleveland area. They've been around since 1985, and they do some spots on WKYC TV local channel 3 here in Cleveland. I could not get an audience with them because my premise of trying to retire under $100,000, they really didn't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. Now, I can understand that because for them there's no money in it, but just to talk about it would have been nice. So I went to the next best thing, I think. But what I did, let's back up. What I did get out of that, and remember, I'm going to say this probably 10 times. I am not a broker. I am not a financial expert. If anything, I am the worst financial person you've ever seen in your life. So take that, when you think about what Buzz is saying, just remember that. But anyway, what I did get from them, and I think this is important, if you're using a broker, if you are using a broker, now I know Fidelity and some big ones out there, you probably won't do this, but Broker Check by FINRA. FINRA is basically a not-for-profit organization that anyone who sells securities supposedly has to join. And they keep a tight, their arms around all of the brokers to make sure that they're doing everything on the up and up. They handle complaints. I guess they would be similar to the BBB, Better Business Bureau. I don't know much about them. But Broker Check, I've never seen that on any other website when you're talking about brokers. And I did use it, and I actually found one broker that was local to me who had his license suspended for a year, many years ago, and I wouldn't hold that against them, but it actually does show that there can be issues. And if you're dealing with a broker, local broker, maybe you should know if they're on this, you should know, almost like the BBB, you'll have Broker Check where you can check them out. Okay, so that being said, since I couldn't get anybody really to talk to me about retiring with $100,000 or less, I asked actually three, but I'm going to talk about two AI models. Now, AI, I've said this before in previous our lives and videos. I've said this before, that when the internet first came out, I kind of poo-pooed it like, it's really not going to do anything. And boy, was I wrong. I had no idea of what the internet was actually going to turn into. I am not going to make that mistake twice. AI is here. It's here to stay, and it's going to impact our lives in a lot of different ways. Take, for instance, I just went to the doctor. I go to the university hospitals group. And you can get on the internet and you can see all your stuff and your blood tests and all that stuff. Everything's online, and you can access it. And there's a whole write-up, probably 15 paragraphs of what was written up. The doctor didn't write it. AI wrote it. And do you know how? They wrote it based on me being in the office and listening to us. There's actually a 8 by 11.5 sheet hanging up on the wall that basically says, you're being listened to by AI. If you don't like it, come up to the front desk and tell them that you want to opt out. So every single person, the doctor-patient conversation is recorded, so AI can write up the paragraphs of what you guys talked about, you and the doctor talked about. The doctor gets a chance to review it to make sure it's accurate. If he does or she does, I don't know. My case, my doctor I think he did, and everything that was written in there seemed legit to me. It seemed like, yeah, that's what we talked about. But it's documented. That's just one little thing that AI is going to be doing in the future, whether we like it or not. So let's get back to our original topic, retiring under $100,000. So I asked AI, and I asked the question. The questions that you ask AI have to be point of fact, as much detail as you could put into them. You can't put too much detail into them. So I basically started out and I said, I'm 65, my wife's 67, we both collect Social Security. We have no debt and have under $100,000 in cash, CDs, and stocks. Where should we allocate our money? Pretty simple. So if you, now in my case, I told you in the 200,000 and under video, that's me. So I'm not at the 100,000 and under, but many people are. So I want to, and you may not go to a broker for the reasons I just said. They really don't want to deal with you, because if they're going to collect 1.1% off of maybe $100,000, maybe it's not worth it to them. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys know something, you're dealing with a broker with under $100,000, let me know, because I'll admit when I'm wrong. But so I asked to ChatGPT and Grok. I did talk to Copilot too and got some information, but ChatGPT and Grok were more detailed in their answers, although there's a lot of different, call them chat boxes out there, whatever you want to call them. There's a lot of them out there. So I just chose these two because they're recognized, they're mainstream, I guess you would say it. So ChatGPT, when I asked the question, it says, thanks for sharing those details. And I'll try to cut this down so we don't go too long, but since you and your wife are both retired, already collecting Social Security and debt-free, your allocations should focus on preserving what you have, generating steady income, and keeping some growth potential to outpace inflation. With under $100,000 invested, safety and simplicity are key. So that's what Chat is telling me. Safety and income first. So they're saying cash and emergency fund, 15 to 20% of that 100,000 should be in there. CDs and treasuries, like laddered CDs or treasury bills, treasury bonds, 20 to 30%. Balanced fund, and I was kind of surprised. Both Chat, Copilot, and Grok gave specific stock tickers, which I was kind of surprised by. And I don't know why. Out of all the things out there that you can invest in, they chose, and we'll get to that. So on the, and then they said dividend stocks or ETFs, 30 to 40%. So that covers the three. Now a conservative dividend ETF like SCHD and VYM, or even a utility REIT mix, can provide steady income plus some growth. A balanced fund, conservative allocation ETF, 20 to 30%, if you want to go like that. So funds like Vanguard, VWINX, and I'll hold this up for you for a second, and Fidelity Balanced, FBALX, are conservative target retirement income funds that you can manage risk. So if you want to see that and take a picture of that, freeze it, whatever you want to do. And you'll probably get the same answers if you pop in the 65, 67-year-old on Social Security, no debt with under 100,000. And again, I'll say this 10 times. I'm not a financial planner in any way, shape, or form. Do not listen to me. You can listen to me. Do not act on what I say. Please. I'm just trying to let you know that there are options to a broker where, whether it's legit or not, to be seen, but there are some options. So key principles: don't chase high yields. Keep it simple. 3 to 5 buckets. Cash, CD, treasuries, dividend ETF, and maybe one balanced fund is enough. Inflation hedge. Having at least 30 to 40% in equities is important to protect your purchasing power. Automatic reinvestment optional. You could take the, and they went into, if you break it all down, you could probably make a good 4 to 5, 6% over the course of a year, just by being careful Now, that was ChatGPT. Grok. Here's what Grok says. First, congratulations on being debt-free and having Social Security as a steady income stream. That's a strong foundation in retirement. At your ages, 65 and 67, with under 100,000 in savings and stocks, the focus should be on preserving capital, generating modest income to supplement your Social Security, and maintaining liquidity for unexpected expenses like healthcare. Makes sense. I'm not a financial advisor. Hey, neither am I. So this is general guidance based on common strategies from reliable sources. I strongly recommend consulting a fee-only financial planner or using free resources from organizations like the National Council on Aging to tailor this to your full situation, including taxes, health, and spending needs. Now that's interesting. The chat didn't recommend anything like that. Didn't recommend a broker. Didn't give us the National Council on Aging, where Grok did. So key principles for your allocation. Prioritize safety and liquidity. So similar to chat, what they're saying. Diversification, income focus, bucket approach, rule of thumb for stocks, subtract your age from 110 to 120 for the stock percentage. So then it broke it down to cash emergency fund, 30%. So about $30,000. Try to get into high yield savings. It said Vero Banks at 5%. For October, actually gave some recommendations. Keeps money accessible for 1 to 2 years of expenses. You can get 4.5% to 5%. Now, I did not check to see if those are accurate. You can do that if you're interested. Fixed income bond CDs. So 50%, so the cash emergency was 30%. Fixed income bond CDs was 50%. So short-term CDs, 6 to 12 months. Lending clubs at 4.45%, Treasury bills or bonds, Vanguard Total Bond ETF provides steady income with low risk. You can get from 3.5 to 4.45%, according to this. Equities, stocks, 20%, so $20,000. Dividend-paying index funds or ETFs. Basically, they were saying a Vanguard Dividend Appreciation ETF. It limits growth potential but adds inflation protection. Keep in low-cost, broad market funds. Now, I just did that with Howard from Otter's Retirement Corner. That's why, hey, Howard, that's why I got this mug here. See with the softball in it? That should prompt you to buy one of Buzz's garage, retirement garage mugs. Comes in different colors too, Howard, just in case you don't like the red one. But yeah, he looked at a lot of different stuff and got into, I call it doofus, it's DFUS. So I took some of my money and put it in DFUS. So if it tanks, I only have Howard to blame. No, I'm just kidding, Howard. But you should never take recommendations from anybody who, especially like me, I don't know anything. But I mean, you do your own homework on these ETFs or stocks, or just get into the S&P 500. You can do that. But I agree. This, basically what they're saying, makes a lot of sense. So I'll show you this one too. I get that microphone out of the way. You want to take a snapshot of that. And so basically it says, you know, and you calculate, you hear this all the time from everybody out there, calculate your safe withdrawal rate with low savings, stick to 3 to 4% annually. So $3,000 or $4,000 to make your funds last 25 to 30 years. Free tools, use Fidelity or Vanguard's retirement planners online to simulate scenarios. There's a lot of good free stuff out there. There's paid ones that are pretty good. I think Joe Kuhn has one that he doesn't have it, but he talks about one of them. So you could check out Joe Kuhn's channel as well to see what he talks about. But anyway, AI is here. Again, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take anything I just said to the bank, okay? Because you'll lose. But AI is here. Use your ChatGPT, use your Grok, use whatever. There's going to be probably dozens of them coming up that that, you know, if you have apps or for your iPhone or for your Android, there's apps galore out there. Most of them are free. They give you so many questions or pictures. I do some of my thumbnails for my lives. I do those on ChatGPT. You can download them, and then I use them, like I said, for a thumbnail. So it's just starting. AI is just starting. It is going to be one of the biggest things ever in our lifetime, next to the internet. I think bigger than the internet. I'm not turning my back on this one like I did with the internet. I was so wrong about that. I won't be wrong about this. It's going to be something. Put on your seatbelt. Get ready for the ride. Buzz's Retirement Garage. Have a good weekend.